we might be seeing an opportunity very similar to what we saw out of Uniswap and also PancakeSwap 1 and 2 cycles ago. So I want to talk a little bit about that. This one could be a really, really big winner, just depending on kind of how the crypto alt season unfolds, if we even have an alt season, what happens to the crypto space generally, a lot of that type of stuff. So anyway, I want to talk today about Aerodrome Finance because they're actually like the only game in town on the Base ecosystem currently. They're by far the largest. They're by far the largest DEX. They've done very, very well for themselves. Price is kind of been ranging, I would say, and right now we're at a point where I think it's a decent look. And so I've actually bought some. I want to talk a little bit more about it and share with you guys kind of what I found as I was doing a little bit of research and just do a pretty quick overview of the project. So anyway, let's go on ahead. We'll dive right in. Starting out, we'll take a look at the crypto bubbles. We can see a fairly nice bounce on the day so far. I do have a theory as to why this could be. I think, this could be the market speculating on some of what's going to be talked about for the White House Crypto Summit tomorrow being Friday. So, I have a video coming out later this afternoon that we're going to be talking about that type of thing. But at least for right now, we're talking about Aerodrome Finance. We can see kind of the average on the market somewhere around between, I would say, 7 to 10%. So things looking decent for the market. Aerodrome is actually going to be up higher than this. We'll get to that in 1 second, but we can see the week is still red on the average here. So, obviously this kind of is continuing to turn more green. It was very, very red for a while. We've had a pretty rough past couple of weeks. And so this is starting to change a little bit, which is good to see. But like I said, if we do look at Aerodrome Finance, we can see it's up 11.5% today. So definitely kind of beating the average of what we were seeing on the market. However, if you do look at the market cap over the past year, it's ranged pretty greatly. So we can see the tops usually come around $2 and the bottoms have usually come around like the low 50-cent range. We saw here actually that it dipped to about 40 cents, and down here I think we saw somewhere around there as well, 40 cents as well. And then also, 50 cents here. And then we also did dip down into 50 cents here as well. So in my opinion, it seems like we may have potentially seen a bottom here. We have started to see this spike up a little bit. So if we kind of zoom in a bit, you can see that we are starting to kind of climb our way back out of this dip that we did see. I don't think I bought at the very, very bottom here, very bottom being about 53 cents. I think I bought it about the low 60 cents somewhere. I think it was kind of right before this dip. But that's kind of what we're seeing here. If you do look at the market cap, it is only $500 million. So it's a relatively small crypto project in the scheme of things. I think this is the number 144th ranked crypto coin. So not in the top 100, which is why we would not be seeing it in the crypto bubbles. We can see, though, the fully diluted valuation is just shy of $1 billion. So a little bit about 50% more to go to have this fully diluted. But what we can see is, the trading volume's decent, the TVL's decent. The TVL is actually higher than the market cap, which is a little interesting. And then obviously the price performance over the past year has been pretty rangy. Now, the reason why I think Aerodrome Finance is a bit of an interesting project is because, one, the tokenomics, in my opinion, look pretty decent. The volume is, I would say, somewhat low for kind of what it is. But I think it's overall a very interesting idea, because as you can see here, it operates as a decentralized exchange or a DEX on the Base blockchain, facilitating liquidity via automated market making and token swaps. It has powerful liquidity incentive engine, a vote lock governance model, and a user-friendly interface. Aerodrome NFT holders govern the token distribution and are rewarded with the fees generated by the protocol, which is again a really cool thing that you're essentially rewarded for holding an NFT associated with Aerodrome, which I do think is cool. I think we're going to start to see a lot more of this, particularly as we start to get some more regulatory clarity, particularly by the US, but I think this will kind of push the rest of the world to kind of come around on this as well. So interested to see kind of what goes on there. If we do look at kind of more of the sophisticated charts here, you can actually see I did take a 4x long on Aerodrome, down a little bit. Like I said, I got in at about, looks about 66 cents. We're currently at about 65 cents. And so, we're just going to have to kind of see how this plays out. Like I said, I'm pretty bullish on it. I'm thinking we've seen the bottoms here, but again, you never know for sure. You can never truly know. I think if we do get to the point where this is starting to look a little bit sketchy in terms of the liquidation price, I'll probably just go and add more margin and drop this down to like a 3x long. I just figured we probably wouldn't be dropping below 50 cents just because of that's kind of looked like a historical pretty strong level of support. And so, that's kind of the play that I went with. So far it's working out okay, but again, who knows what the future holds and how the crypto market does. As you can see, we are trading here on Phemex. We can see pretty consistent move to the downside basically for all of 2025. And so I think this is one that I think it looks like a pretty good play. Now, again, this type of play is going to be contingent on a couple of different things. The first one is the base ecosystem continuing to be adopted further, get more eyes, more people participating in it, all that type of stuff, with Coinbase kind of being the main benefactor of Base. I do think it's probably more likely than not, but we don't know for sure. Obviously, over time, we'll kind of just be tracking that and seeing how it goes. But obviously, recently, price is not looking particularly good. But as I did show in the Coinbase, or in the CoinGecko, the CoinGecko chart, we have seen kind of dips this low and then kind of a swing back up into that $2 range. So if we do see something similar, we could be seeing about a 3 to 4x from here. You can see the RSI has kind of consistently been in the oversold territory for the past several months. So never really kind of hitting above neutral. So I do think we're probably going to, or we should be seeing a momentum shift at some point here, just because a lot of this is, I think a lot of it's kind of momentum and narrative driven more than anything else, just because it generates fees. It's on the Base blockchain. The Base blockchain is growing. There's a lot of that type of stuff. And so if we do see it find a level of success, then this could be really, really bullish and really, really important for the, kind of for the Base ecosystem, as well as for Aerodrome specifically. This is why I kind of think it could be similar to like a PancakeSwap or a Uniswap, is because obviously Uniswap got big because they were kind of the winner in the Ethereum ecosystem. PancakeSwap got big because they were kind of the first initial winner on the BNB ecosystem. And so I think if we see something similar happen within the Base ecosystem that happened in BNB and kind of the ETH L1 more generally, that is how we could see Aerodrome potentially hitting levels like that. Now, we'll go back and do kind of a little bit of a price prediction there, just so we can talk about kind of what maybe some expectations would be there. But if you are interested in trading with it, I have been using Phemex lately. Phemex, as you can see, I've got a whole bunch of different trades open here. It's a pretty nice and clean platform to use. I have liked it. They also do have that trading bot. I have mentioned the trading bot before, which is really cool. If you're looking to do more of like a passive investing route, and you're just looking to kind of trade volatility in crypto, obviously there's no shortage of volatility in crypto. That is something that the trading bots are really, really good for, and I do like quite a lot. So if that is something you're interested in, I do have the links in the description below for both Phemex, and then I do have BTCC as well and WEEX as well, if you are looking for something a little bit different there also. Now, moving on, I wanted to go over kind of a little bit of a side tangent, but it is directly related to Aerodrome, and this is the Coinbase 50 index. Basically, it appears to be a little bit of like the S&P 500, but this is obviously related specifically to crypto. Really, really interesting. This is something I think is probably long overdue, and this is something that I think people who are new to crypto would be very, very it would be in their best interest to kind of look closely at something like this. Obviously, the people at Coinbase are going to be picking an index that is kind of some of the top projects in the space and then weighting them accordingly. So if you click through on this link, you can see here that they've got a little bit of kind of an understanding or a quick mention of what they are. You can see the last 24-hour price change on the Coin 50. You also can see, kind of a quick little graphic about what it is and how it works. This was just rebalanced a couple of days ago. You can see nothing can be more than 50% of the max weight of the market. So you can see Bitcoin capped out at 50. It can't go any higher than that, even though as a proportional share of the crypto market, it is a little bit higher than that. You can see, Ethereum, Ripple, Solana, Doge, and then the remaining 45, less than 10%. So you can see concentrated very, very highly in kind of these top 5, but they are also the largest ones. So that does make a little bit of sense. I did go through do a little bit of digging here, and I was able to find actually the top components here. So we can see it down here. This is pretty small. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. Maybe that's too much. Okay, so you can see here, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Doge, Chainlink, Cardano. It just kind of goes all the way down the list, and then you can see, we're 0.02, 0.03. Aerodrome, only a 0.03% allocation. So very, very small. But there's a lot of different things in here. You know, if you're looking for a good place to start in terms of, you know, various things that you could be investing to within the crypto space, you're a little bit of a newbie, that type of thing. Obviously, you do need to do your own research. There is no replacement for doing your own research. But if you're looking for maybe some quick pointers of where to go, this could be kind of an interesting way to do that. Given that this is kind of functioning like the S&P 500, or at least similarly to the S&P 500, we can see that this is actually just weighted pretty generally based on their like market share as a percentage of the total crypto market cap. So that's why, you know, obviously we've got some very, very small ones down here, but this will just kind of continue to fluctuate, you know, as things start to move up. Let's say, you know, Litecoin does really, really well. Obviously its share as a percentage of this overall index will continue to be upweighted. So that's just one thing that I want to show you guys real quick, because I thought this was a pretty neat thing that is coming out. I think an index of the overall crypto ecosystem is a really, really fantastic idea. I mean, this is very much akin to like buying the S&P 500 index. It's really, really great, especially for people who aren't looking to be picking individual stocks. I mean, this is kind of like the same type of comparison, right? Instead of you having to go and find individual stocks and try and make sure that you're not too weighted in one sector or the other, and making sure you've got a truly diversified portfolio, you don't have to worry about any of that. Just go pick the S&P 500. The S&P 500 is a good representation of kind of the entire US equities market. And this Coin 50, I think, is probably a good place to kind of start there. So I am actually really pleased to see that. So that's pretty cool. Moving back to CoinGecko here, I did want to kind of start and take a closer look at the market cap and what this could maybe translate to for price. So obviously, as we can see here, about 500 million, and we're about 65-cent valuation here. So if we were to get back to, you know, some of the recent highs that we've seen, I think this is the all-time high back here at about $2.21. If we were to get back to that level, we would be seeing about a 4x from here. So if we were to see a 4x, this would be about a $2 billion valuation. Pretty decent overall, you know, not too bad. Actually, at this point, it was only $1.5 billion, but we have diluted some more here, which is why, you know, that we would actually have to get to a $2 billion valuation to see that same $2.20 range. So something to consider there. Obviously, the growth over time has been looking pretty good, and this is primed where we could see another pretty impressive run out of it. Let's go take a quick look at Uni, and we'll also take a quick look at PancakeSwap as well. Historically, these are going to be very, very strong. We can see this Uniswap hitting over 22 billion, most recently hitting something around 11, 12 billion, somewhere around there. You know, so that's a pretty interesting indicator. And then let's go take a quick look at Cake for PancakeSwap, and then we can kind of use these as a little bit of a judgment for where we could see Aerodrome going. So we can see all-time highs here back in 2021 for PancakeSwap, sitting at about 6.7 billion, and most recently hitting over about 1.1 billion. Obviously, PancakeSwap not doing particularly great recently. It kind of had most of its successes back in 2021. Like I said, when it was kind of really taking off on the new narrative of being like the alt chain DEX, basically. And so that's kind of how I would compare Aero. If we're going to go back to Aerodrome, that's what I would kind of similarly be expecting it to do. So again, you know, we're seeing kind of maybe lower end about 6-ish billion, which would be about a 12x from here, and that would put us at about $7 or $8. And then if we did something like Uniswap, again, I think this would be very, very challenging to do. But if something like Uniswap did happen, because retail's really coming on in mass and they're all going to Base, because Coinbase obviously has a very, very strong kind of onboarding route for most retail in the crypto space to come on, we could see a ton of really interesting things coming out of Base overall. And so if we did see something like that and we got closer to like that, let's say 20 billion range, that would put us at about a 40x, if I'm remembering, about a 40x there. And so obviously a 40x would be, let's do some quick math here, about $25. So pretty impressive. I would say, obviously I wouldn't complain about that at all. But what we'd have to see from that is we definitely would need to see some pretty impressive moves. As we can see, even recently, actually, the market cap actually becoming comparable to PancakeSwap. So even if we were to return to those highs, maybe a 2 or 3x in store, But if we were to see something, kind of a little bit more bullish with, a lot of retail getting on board and them running through the Coinbase ecosystem, which of course would include Base and Arrow kind of being the DEX of default for that ecosystem, I do think could be pretty bullish for the project overall. So anyway, that's kind of where I'm at. I think probably 3 to 4x is probably somewhat reasonable in terms of kind of return to previous highs. And then after that, we could see anywhere between a 10 to 12, maybe even up to like a 20 to 25x, depending on kind of where we get in terms of, market cap and retail adoption and fees. Part of what is an interesting concept here with Aerodrome is because since people get paid out as a portion of the fees being like a holder of the NFT, this does kind of impute a level of valuation there, particularly on like the NFT. And I believe we'll have to look, the token distribution. So I believe that the token holders also get distributed as well if you are staking there. I'll have to double check that a little bit closer just to make sure, but I think that's kind of how that reads. Both NFT and token holders do get distributed out as part of those fees. But that is an interesting concept because that kind of imputes a valuation indirectly on the coin, right? So if, volume or fees go up 100x, then, obviously, price may not go up 100x, but price will appreciate just because it is just processing more and people are getting paid more in terms of yield. And so that percentage yield is essentially going, price is going to fluctuate to kind of make the percentage yield at a level that people are kind of happy with, right? So for example, if I had for easy math and to make things fairly simple, if I had one Aerodrome and I was making, $10 a year, then, and people were okay with a 10% return, then maybe my one Aerodrome would be worth $100. So hopefully that's kind of a simple and easy way to kind of work out how you can kind of impute value when you have these types of mechanisms, which in my opinion, I obviously come from the traditional finance world. This makes it a lot easier to kind of figure out how to value things other than just vibes and memes and whatever else. So anyway, hopefully you found the information in this video useful. If you did, please do give me a like and a subscribe because it really, really does help me out. Also, if you have any comments, thoughts, feelings, questions, whatever, just drop those in the comment section below. I do try to read and respond to all of those. So if you have anything that you want me to see, that'd be a great way to do so. Thank you guys for tuning in and we'll see you in the next one.